Alright, so we have a Chrysler Aspen, I believe. There was a squeaky noise coming from it, so the customer wanted to get the brakes done. I took it out for a test drive and realized that the squeaky noise isn't coming from the brakes, but I checked the brakes anyway, and it wasn't need a brake. So we got all the brakes done today, but obviously the noise is still there. It's what I told the customer, because the noise is not from the brakes. So after I did the brakes, I started snooping around here. It took me like 10 minutes to figure out what's going on here, but if you look here, the bumper's crashed or cracked. So the grill, don't worry about it, I removed it myself, but see the bumper's cracked. So I started looking around, and if you look inside of here, you see that bracket back there that looks like it has like 2 holes drilled in it. Obviously it's bent. So I came from down here, and sure enough, this thing is bent over from the accident. You can see the kink in it, and that piece of metal is rubbing on the rail. So I just bent it back a little bit and it's all set. Okay, so we're here with the Toyota Avalon, the one I just did the timing belt on. And the car is back again. The customer says that there's a rattle noise and that noise wasn't there before I did the timing belt. So alright, so I brought the car in, started looking around, and it's clear as day that the noise is coming from underneath the car. So there's your problem. Has nothing to do with the timing belt job that I did. But yep, that's what you get after you fix people's cars. Okay, so I pulled my car in so I could do a oil change on it. I open up the hood and I see this. Yep, it's a dead mouse. He's actually stuck. If you look on this side, you can see there's a hole right there, and that's the same hole on this side he was trying to get through. So I guess he got stuck and he spent the last little bit of his life kind of chewing on that wire right there. And yeah, it is starting to stink in here like a dead rodent. So yep, any car that sits too long, my car doesn't get driven much, it just, you know, just move it here and there, but for the most part it just sits in front of my house. And yeah, any car that sits too long, rodents get into it. So hopefully I don't have too many more problems with this, but now I know I gotta keep an eye out on it. Okay, so I just finished up doing a ton of work on this Saturn, and I was ready to take it out for a test drive, and I can't find the damn key. So unfortunately I had to make that call to the customer, you know, the call saying, hey, I'm an idiot, I lost your key, can you bring a spare key? So in the meantime, I'm gonna have to keep looking for their key, and as soon as I find it, obviously give it back to them. But I know it's really embarrassing, and just wondering, has it happened to you before, and how does it usually play out, you know, when you end up giving a customer that type of call? Guys, so we got an '01 Hyundai Elantra, and customers been telling me about this car for a while. It has all kinds of problems. So despite all these problems, they finally brought it over to me. So first of all, it's leaking coolant everywhere. While the car is running, you could hear the hissing sound. And they brought it over just for one thing, but there's plenty of problems going on here. They brought it over here because this was the original rotor. He could not get it off. You can see how damaged it is. And there's a crazy amount of tape on it. Look at that, that's crazy. So we got a rotor. Now we're putting all junkyard parts on this car. I guess it's a budget fix, you know, it's what the customer brought me. So yep, CV shaft obviously torn, brake hose torn, and they've been driving the car like this for a while. Outer tie rod destroyed. It's a crazy amount of play in it. Yep. And the customer drove over here with her mom and her daughter in the car. I mean, of course they know that the car isn't safe, but I wouldn't even be driving in this car. I mean, it's crazy. So I told them, they didn't come here to get this fixed. I told them, I was like, look, I can't let you leave here with this car like this. You know, I told them, I don't get an Uber, get something, but this has to get fixed here. I'm not gonna let you drive away like this because it's just not safe at all. So they went to AutoZone. They're gonna get a new line, and we're gonna get this brake line replaced. Okay, so here we have oil drain bolt. This came off of a Dodge Durango, and as you can see, it's pretty mangled up. Customer had no problem admitting that they over tightened the fastener. It got rounded off and they could not remove it. He said he spent a good few hours trying to get it off, and to no avail. So he brought it over here. I showed him these sockets that I had, and he was pretty sure that they would not work. So I went ahead and put the appropriate size on, which was this one right here. I hit it with the impact gun a few times and it came right out without a problem. So yeah, every time I've had to use these sockets, they work well. They haven't failed me once. And it came off just as fast as a job as if this bolt wasn't even rounded off. So it didn't take any extra time or anything like that. I guess it's just a matter of... Okay, so we're back with that Saturn SL2, the one that I just put the video out on the wheel bearing. Now, I mentioned on the passenger side that I may put out a video using the new Milwaukee high torque gun if I needed to, but unfortunately, all of this stuff just came apart just fine using the mid torque. So I'm not going to be putting up a video showing, you know, this one taking off like fasteners that are extremely torqued down. But yeah, got the new wheel bearing on this side as well. Got that all done, and I noticed that the CV boot is actually leaking. So it's one of those while you're in there jobs. Customer approved it and they want to go ahead and get it done while I'm in here. So I figured I'd just take it off, and I'm just playing the waiting game from AutoZone. So we've got a Pontiac Aztek 2003. Now, if anyone remembers this car from one of my previous videos, I actually did a wheel bearing video on this, and I did the rear right side, so the passenger side. And customer called me saying that they hear what sounds like a wheel bearing noise again, and that it's coming from the same wheel. So they dropped it off. I checked it, and no, it's not the same wheel. It's actually the driver's side now. And it's funny because it's only been a few months since I did the one on the passenger side. It's definitely not as bad as the other side was, but there's a noticeable noise right now, and even obviously while you're driving. But yep, you do one wheel bearing and the other's not far behind.